All right, well, we'll let others trickle in, but I think we should go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you made your way here, then you found our informative webinar and product walkthrough all about ASCO-GI, which is just tomorrow. And my name is Lynn Nguyen, and I'm the Senior Account Executive working with the team here at LARVOL to support pharma teams around the world. I'm also joined by Dr. Mark Gramling, who is our Director of Oncology, and he's going to be giving us a walkthrough of one of these digital tools just a little bit later on in today's session. But we'll be your hosts today. Please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions if you have them. And as Mark also mentioned, we are going to be recording this and we will be sharing this via email right after the recording. We're going to be using the next 30 minutes or so to explore the many ways that you can prepare for all the data that is going to be coming out of ASCO-GI, especially as it relates to competitive intelligence. Scientific conferences such as ASCO-GI are so important to our customers in these companies and beyond, and are one of the key sources of valuable new data for pharma competitive intelligence teams. But before we dive in, just wanted to share a little bit more information about LARVOL and who we are. If you haven't met our team before, we are a global, fully remote team serving all corners of the life sciences community, using the data needed to help you make strategic decisions. Since our founding in 2004, we've continually innovated to deliver accurate data quickly and with easy to use tools, including everything from KOL activity to clinical trial data results, even to today's topic, which is of course conference coverage. And a little fun fact about us is that we are pushing the boundary with trying to be the first VR workplace. Our CEO and founder is actually currently doing an experiment where he will be running the business strictly in the metaverse for 1 year. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can also follow our founder on LinkedIn and Twitter, where he is documenting that experience. But let's get started with today's session, which is where we're going to be showing you a few of the ways that our digital tools can help support your CI strategy. So we're going to take a look at what we already know about some of the data that is coming out of ASCO-GI, and then dig into how you can best process and make use of this data before, during, and even after the event. So what do we already know about ASCO-GI? So we know that it's a hybrid in-person and virtual event. We know when the preliminary data was expected to be released and therefore be prepared in order to do the analysis for it. And then we also have a timeline for any additional data release. So we're aware of when we're expecting the titles to be released, as well as the abstracts and even late-breaking abstracts. Now, how can LARVOL support you in these planning efforts? The three key CI areas that we've identified with our oncology customers in particular are proper pre-conference planning, easy access to compliant data released during the event, and really smart social listening to give you a feel for the opinions of the oncology community. So we'll be taking a look deeper at what we already know and how we can support you. So as of today, ASCO-GI is tomorrow. What is the sort of content that we were already able to be aware of? So one, we knew that the titles were released on January 9th, and our team was able to quickly profile all the data that was already there. So currently we know that there's over 850 abstracts on the docket. And once the abstracts are going to be released, we'll be able to further sort the data by products, MOAs, companies, and diseases. What's important to note is also the format of the event. So during the course of the past 2 years, we've all become accustomed to completely virtual events. But this year, ASCO-GI is offering a hybrid model with both in-person and virtual options. And so for virtual and even hybrid events, we really miss the elements of networking and connection that we find so critical to the conference experience. We've noticed that what this ends up doing is it makes pharma teams even more eager to get their hands on the data and take action on it. For conferences such as ASCO-GI, we typically hear from our customers days in advance when they're expecting to get their planner so that they can immediately start to prioritize the sessions and determine where they should focus most of their attention towards. So a lot of excitement towards these data releases for large conferences such as ASCO-GI. So this leads us to our first digital solution, which you can see here a screenshot of our conference planner, which we like to call CONF for short. Our conference planners are comprehensive Excel spreadsheets, which cover every single aspect of the event. And our customers will be receiving any updated version of this planner at every stage of the data release. So whether it's the preliminary program, the titles, abstracts, late-breaking abstracts, anytime there's new data being released on these Congress websites, our team is quickly able to pull that together for you. And we even highlight all the new information that is being added as yellow. And this is a great opportunity for you to be able to use the sorting and filtering capabilities of Excel to be able to hone in on the abstracts and sessions that your team should be focused on. So for ASCO-GI, we already profiled the titles, which were released earlier this month, and our customers were able to receive their titles only planner. The embargo for the abstracts were actually released today. So as we're currently speaking, our team is working to prepare the next version of the conference planner, which we hope to have available before the start of the conference tomorrow. And so at any stage of data release, we will be indicating when you can expect to receive the next update. One of the really important factors that we want to highlight is speed. Our team is able to prepare these Excel spreadsheets within 36 hours of data release. And we're actually typically closer to the 24-hour mark. And this is great because we want to make sure that CI teams are spending their time with the data itself rather than having to pull all the information themselves and organize this data. So using our Excel spreadsheets, it's a great tool for you to be able to save time and use your time effectively to make strategic decisions. Later on in this year as well, on our roadmap, we're going to be launching our online platform for conference. So in addition to having access to Excel spreadsheets, we hope to have these planners on an online version so that teams can be able to collaborate without any issues of version control and really be able to customize these planners further and downloading your own version and sharing it across colleagues internally. So we're really excited for that launch to be taking place later on in this year. So more to come about that as well. So here we have a screenshot of ASCO-GI's conference planner. As you can see here, we typically will indicate the total number of titles or abstracts, and then we break it down by the day as well. Our team is going to be pulling information such as the date, the time, the location, if it's of course a hybrid event such as this one, and we'll also be directly hyperlinking to the abstracts itself. Now, where our team takes a further step is that we're able to extract any specific mentions of MOAs, products, diseases, clinical trials. And this way, you would be able to instantly search and filter for any relevant topics or keywords of interest to you. In addition to being able to highlight specific mentions of the products, authors, affiliations, at the end of last year, we implemented 2 new features to our conference planners. And this is in relation to our newest product that we actually soft launched at ASCO last year, which is LARVOL Clin. LARVOL Clin has 10 years of trial data that we've manually reviewed and coded to extract for every single document. And what we like to refer to as documents would be any table, graph, and figure that's associated with that clinical trial. And so with the new planners that you're going to be receiving with, let's say, ASCO-GI, if there are any documents that are tied to a specific clinical trial, you'll be able to access that here through this clinical trial document tab. And if you click directly onto the link, it'll take you directly to those 7 documents pertaining to the abstract. In addition to that, we're also including Twitter reactions. So due to, of course, COVID-19, we've really seen a rise in DOLs, or digital opinion leaders. And so currently within our database, we have around 1,800 verified digital opinion leaders focused in oncology. And anytime they're reacting to any data that's been released from, let's say, ASCO-GI, our team is able to code their tweets as positive, negative, or unrated. And this really gives you a sense of what the overall community is also saying in regards to these abstracts or clinical trial data results. And because we're including all the data for the past 10 years, we're also going to be redigitizing Kaplan-Meier curves and forest plots to make them more useful for your analysis and action. But these are some of the 2 new features that we've added, and Mark will be going to share his screen in just a few moments so that he can show you a little bit more about the CLIN platform and how it is integrated with our conference planners as well. But before we change to the next part of the presentation, just want to see if there's any questions that have come in from the Q&A. Not seeing anything right now. So again, feel free to post any questions throughout the presentation, but not seeing any right now. So I will be stopping my screen share so that Mark can begin his and give everyone a taste of what LARVOL CLIN looks like.
Sure. So thank you, Lynn. So yeah, I'd like to pick up on what Lynn was introducing in that last slide, focusing on those Twitter reactions and those documents. As they're currently integrated into the conference planner, you can go straight to that particular abstract and see that detail. But all of that data is incorporated into a platform. And so I'd love to just maybe take 10 minutes or so to share my screen and show what that CLIN platform looks like, highlighting the portions that Lynn mentioned from Twitter reactions, documents, digitized curves, and to put a visual to that. I'm going to share my screen. So I'll start with a quick confirmation. Lynn, can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's dive into it. This is LARVOL CLIN. And if you were to sign up for LARVOL CLIN, this is what the main landing page looks like. If I could give a broad verbal introduction of what we're trying to do with CLIN, is frankly building the Google Maps of cancer data and being the one place and fulfilling that the promise of CT.gov, which frankly was not fulfilled, which is putting all of the data releases from clinical trials in oncology into one space, be those, as per this conversation, conference data releases, but also including data from the peer-reviewed literature and data from other sources such as even press releases. But to put it in context, I'd like to go ahead and jump to one of the tabs. I'll go slightly out of order, but I want to jump to the conference tab first. Because we're discussing ASCO-GI today, and perhaps this tool could be of use in forthcoming conferences such as ASCO-GU. So if I jump over to the conferences tab, you can see here as I just do a very quick scroll that we cover a broad variety of oncology conferences, around 100 in total. And I'd say in and amongst those, the top 20 conferences inclusive of ASCO-GI, we're attending virtually. So that gives us an even additional level of being able to pull the data. So just to jump to it, now as Lynn mentioned, embargo was just recently, so this is in process data, but I'd like to go ahead and jump to how the data is developing for ASCO-GI as it currently stands. So this is being updated live. The screen might even change while I'm presenting here because the data is being inputted. But to go to ASCO-GI to give you a sort of structural sense of what we're doing, you can search any and all the abstracts by condition, by any specific intervention or therapy of interest, and also other terms, specific trial ID, investigator names, and other terms to pull the data. But to put a visual on it, this is some of the data that's come out thus far, is that we're able to pull the figures, documents, tables all into one space. and provide you the links to the source information as well as a snapshot of the data, pulling all of this out of the abstracts that are forthcoming from ASCO-GI. And as you can see, this will be significantly expanded as the conference transpires, not only the number of documents as the abstracts are coming out of embargo, but also, as Lynn mentioned, those Twitter reactions. So I'd like to actually jump to that. Thus far, we're getting a few Twitter reactions with respect to this TOPAZ-1 trial in the system, which is in biliary cancer. And if you were to click over here on Twitter reactions, this is the view of what you'll see. So here we're actually curating this data for relevance and also for sentiment, be it positive, negative, or neutral reactions to this particular data release. So it's very trial and very data release centric. All of these individuals, as per the curation, are going to be reacting to this specific trial. So that's a little bit what you see here. The sentiment being labeled with these tabs positive here. Obviously, as Lynn mentioned, we're tracking over 1,800 digital opinion leaders, and those leaders are reacting as you see on the screen here. And this is, again, processed in real time along with the data itself. So we have a great market team and API with Twitter itself, such that we can, in real time, 24, 36 hours as reactions are happening, bring those Twitter reactions to you. And just to put a little bit more faces to that construct, here I've jumped over to the influencers tab, or digital opinion leaders tab, if you will. And if I were to scroll down, you can see the full breadth and depth of the 1,800 DOLs that we are tracking on Twitter. If you maybe don't want to look from a trial focus, you can hone in on individual digital opinion leaders in the system and see all of their oncology related tweets. And also, as you can see in these tabs here, we did implement a ranking algorithm which measures their online, quote unquote, online versus offline activity. So online activity being their presence on social media, but also balanced against their offline activity, such as involvement in numbers of clinical trials, and also their publication history within the past 5 years. So these give a few thumbnail views of some of the digital opinion leaders in the system. And as I said, if you wanted to click on any one individual, you could see all of their tweets with respect to a variety of topics. Whereas if you click on a particular title from a data release, it's everyone focused in on that data itself. So structurally, really, that's what it gives you a top line case of what we're doing with CLIN. So I've jumped back over to the ASCO-GI page with its developing data. There's other features here as well that you can ask an analyst and within 48 hours response, get additional information for trials from ASCO-GI in this example, or in the coming future ASCO-GU and other conferences. We've also built analytics into the system where we can track the top products being presented at a particular conference, the top mechanisms of action being presented, as well as the disease areas, of course, as well. So there is a quick view analytics feature available to you as well for any particular conference or all data as well. And also quickly mention, there's a small figure here, but in the top right, there's also a bookmarking function within the system to of course, help you keep track of the trials that you are interested in, but it also enables an alerting system for an email so that let's say you want to track a particular trial or group of trials, you can bookmark those and have alerts set to your inbox. So as soon as any data is released from a conference or really, or even the peer-reviewed literature, that you would be notified that that system, the system has included that data, and you can come right to CLIN and see all of those figures. That's sort of the structure of the conferences. I do want to mention more broadly, though, that not only is CLIN utilized in complement to our conference planners for competitive intelligence around a conference, it's a broader archive as well. So if you were to do a quick search, I did a very broad search here in colorectal cancer, you can see that it's not just inclusive of the conference literature, it's inclusive of historical conferences, so not just those within this past year, but dating back. For example, you're seeing ASCO 2021 data on the screen, or as represented here for this NEVO trial in colorectal, you can also see documents coming from the peer-reviewed literature. So pulling all of those figures together in a compliant way, of course, so that you can have access to all of that. And as you can actually see here for this NEVO course study, we have a historical record of the data releases as well. So that's all into one space. So in addition to helping with your conference planning and helping with analyzing all of the bolus of data coming from a major conference, CLIN is also inclusive of historical data. We have upwards of 200,000 figures or documents in the system at this time. So really excited, really building out this database to really be that Google Maps of cancer, as I stated. I just wanted to introduce very quickly, because Lynn mentioned the digitized data element. So I wanted to show that quickly. In brief, we're taking all of the outcomes data for overall survival, progression-free survival, and we're working on other clinical endpoints as well, and taking from the public literature and digitizing that data to put it into one space. So if I were to jump over to the Kaplan-Meier tab in CLIN, what you can see here, and I'll scroll down first to illustrate, is I've actually selected a couple different trials in biliary cancer, and putting that in one space, the digitized, in this case, overall survival data can all be brought together at once. So it creates an opportunity for very quick meta-analysis in a can, if you will. So we would hope that this would be a tool for trial design or competitive intelligence as well, a tool to help you quickly assemble this type of outcomes data to make your analyses move just that much faster by providing all of this data into one space. And it's also inclusive of the complementary hazard ratios for that outcomes data. So you can do the same type of quick comparisons by searching, again, any terms, condition, interventions, and other to put that all into one space. And so here, again, I've just done a quick search within biliary tract cancer, and here's some hazard ratios and their complementary confidence intervals on the screen here. So again, that's a very broad overview of some of the capabilities of CLIN. Of course, we're happy, anyone here who would love to learn more, happy to give a demo further and dive deeper, but just wanted the opportunity to present what we're doing with CLIN and how this complements what we're doing with conference planning with the Excel-based approach, and here being more of a platform-based approach. So perhaps I will stop there in the interest of time. And if there's no questions, happy to toss it back to Lynn. For anyone here today, we'd be happy to follow up as per Lynn's slide. I'll let her introduce the details, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Mark, for showcasing our platform. It's always great to see it again. You always learn something new every time, so it's wonderful. As a little thank you for those who have attended our session today, we are offering a free ASCO-GI or an ASCO-GU planner, as that is the next largest oncology conference that we're covering right now. We'll be able to send you over a preliminary planner just so that you can get a feel for what is to be expected if you were to subscribe to some of these conference planners. And in addition to that, because it is our newly launched product, it would be great to offer 2 months access to CLIN so that you can explore some of the data that is coming out live as we speak from ASCO-GI, and then perhaps also even exploring it for ASCO-GU. So if you have any questions or comments, or would like to claim some of these free samples that we're offering, please reach out to us at info@larvol.com. And again, happy to put together any other presentation where we can take a deeper dive at conference planners and even CLIN. So thank you all for those who attended our webinar. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Cheers. Bye.